The concept of childhood is not a fixed, universal idea. Instead, it's a social construct that has evolved dramatically over time, reflecting the changing values and norms of society. In the Middle Ages, the concept of childhood as we know it today didn't exist. Children were viewed as miniature adults, expected to contribute to society as soon as they were physically capable. This perspective stemmed from high infant mortality rates and the need for all family members to contribute to survival. The Renaissance marked a shift in perception. Influenced by humanist philosophy, society began recognizing childhood as a distinct phase of life. This period saw the emergence of specialized clothing for children and increased attention to their education, reflecting a growing awareness of children's unique needs and potential. The Industrial Revolution brought a complex reimagining of childhood. On one hand, it led to widespread child labor, with children working long hours in dangerous conditions. On the other, it sparked education reforms and child labor laws as society began to grapple with the ethical implications of child exploitation and the importance of education for societal progress. The 20th century witnessed a radical transformation in the concept of childhood. Influenced by advances in psychology and pediatrics, society began to view childhood as a crucial developmental stage. This led to the emergence of child-centric policies, including universal education, child welfare programs, and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, fundamentally reshaping our understanding of childhood. This evolution in the concept of childhood demonstrates how our understanding of human development is deeply influenced by societal, economic, and cultural factors. It reminds us that even seemingly natural concepts can be socially constructed and subject to change over time. Neil Postman's theory challenges our traditional understanding of childhood. He argues that in our modern society, the distinction between childhood and adulthood is becoming increasingly blurred. Postman identifies 4 key factors that contribute to this erosion of childhood. These elements, once distinct to the adult world, are now increasingly accessible to children, reshaping their experiences and development. These factors don't exist in isolation. They interact and influence each other, collectively shaping the modern childhood experience. The arrows represent how each element directly impacts the concept of childhood, creating a web of influences. Let's examine each factor more closely. Media exposure, represented by the television, has dramatically increased children's access to adult content and themes. Digital access, symbolized by the smartphone, provides children with unprecedented information at their fingertips, often without the context or maturity to process it effectively. The book represents the increasing accessibility of adult knowledge. Children now have easier access to information, once considered too complex or inappropriate for their age. Finally, the icon of multiple users represents the blurring boundaries between adult and child experiences. As children participate in adult-like activities and consume adult-oriented media, the clear distinctions between childhood and adulthood fade. As these influences intensify and intertwine, Postman argues that our traditional concept of childhood begins to dissolve. The protective bubble that once separated children from adult realities becomes increasingly porous. This transformation of the child icon into a question mark symbolizes the uncertainty surrounding the future of childhood. As the lines between child and adult experiences blur, we're left to ponder, what does it mean to be a child in today's world? Postman's theory invites us to critically examine how these societal changes affect child development, family dynamics, and educational practices. It challenges us to consider whether we're losing something valuable as the distinct nature of childhood fades, and what implications this might have for future generations. As we explore the disappearance of childhood, let's visualize how information flow has changed from the 1950s to the present day. In the 1950s, families gathered around a single television, which served as the primary source of information and entertainment. Fast forward to today, where we see a child with a smartphone, representing a stark contrast in how information is accessed and consumed. In the 1950s, information flowed at a controlled pace. Television networks curated content, creating a shared experience for families and communities. Today, the landscape has dramatically shifted. Smartphones provide instant access to an overwhelming amount of information, tailored to individual preferences. The contrast is striking. Notice how the arrows from the smartphone are more numerous and colorful, representing the diversity and volume of information. This shift has profound implications for childhood development. Children today are exposed to adult information at a much earlier age, blurring the lines between childhood and adulthood. This unrestricted access to information challenges traditional notions of childhood innocence and the gradual introduction to adult concepts. The concept of adultification is a growing concern in our society, reflecting a shift in how we perceive and treat children. Adultification occurs when we attribute adult characteristics, roles, or responsibilities to children, often prematurely and inappropriately. This phenomenon manifests in various aspects of children's lives. For instance, we might see children dressed in business attire, mimicking adult professions, or wearing makeup at a young age. The prevalence of smartphones among children also blurs the line between childhood and adulthood, as they're exposed to adult content and communication styles. The adultification of children is particularly evident in two influential domains of our society: advertising and popular culture. These areas significantly shape public perceptions and societal norms, often setting unrealistic expectations for children. In the realm of advertising, we often encounter disturbing examples of adultification. One common sight is child models striking poses typically associated with adult fashion shoots, which can sexualize children or portray them as miniature adults. Another concerning trend is the use of children to promote products primarily designed for adults, blurring the boundaries between age-appropriate marketing and exploitation. Popular culture, too, plays a significant role in the adultification process. We see an increasing number of reality TV shows featuring children in adult-like situations, often involving competition, drama, or showcasing precocious talents. Additionally, the entertainment industry frequently casts child actors in mature, complex roles that may be beyond their emotional comprehension, potentially affecting their psychological development. These examples from advertising and popular culture highlight a concerning trend: the erosion of the traditional boundaries between childhood and adulthood. By portraying children as mini adults, we risk robbing them of the unique experiences and developmental stages crucial for healthy growth. This shift in societal perception can lead to unrealistic expectations, premature exposure to adult themes, and potentially harmful psychological effects on children. As we delve into the topic of the disappearance of childhood, let's first examine social media usage among different age groups. This data provides crucial context for understanding how digital platforms are shaping modern childhood experiences. The graph reveals a striking trend. Social media usage increases dramatically with age. For children aged 8 to 12, about 32% use social media. However, this jumps to 68% for teenagers aged 13 to 17. This significant increase raises questions about how early exposure to social media might be accelerating the transition from childhood to adolescence. With this widespread use of social media, it's crucial to examine the key concerns associated with children's online presence. These issues directly contribute to the erosion of traditional childhood experiences and accelerate exposure to adult-like situations. The lock icon represents privacy concerns. Alarmingly, 45% of teens overshare personal information online. This behavior can lead to premature exposure to adult-like responsibilities and risks, potentially shortening the carefree period of childhood. The speech bubble icon symbolizes cyberbullying. 37% of kids experience this form of online harassment. Cyberbullying forces children to navigate complex social dynamics typically associated with older ages, potentially robbing them of innocence and carefree play. The eye icon represents exposure to adult content. A staggering 70% of kids encounter inappropriate content online. This premature exposure to adult themes and information can accelerate the loss of childhood innocence and force children to grapple with concepts beyond their emotional maturity. These statistics paint a concerning picture of the digital landscape children navigate today. The combination of privacy risks, cyberbullying, and exposure to adult content creates an environment that can prematurely end the protected period of childhood, contributing to its gradual disappearance in the digital age. The digital age has profoundly impacted childhood, transforming how children grow, learn, and interact with the world. This balance scale represents the complex interplay between the challenges and opportunities that technology brings to modern childhood. As we add negative.txt to the left side of the scale, we see a potential negative consequence of the digital age on childhood. This reflects concerns about children being exposed to mature content or situations earlier than in previous generations. Balancing this, we have positive.txt on the right side. This highlights how digital technologies can provide children with opportunities to develop crucial skills for the future, potentially giving them an edge in an increasingly digital world. As we've seen, each aspect of childhood in the digital age has both potential drawbacks and benefits. The loss of innocence is counterbalanced by early skill development. Increased stress is offset by greater global awareness. And while playtime may be reduced, children are gaining digital literacy that will be crucial in their future lives and careers. The balance of the scale symbolizes the need for a nuanced understanding of childhood's evolution. It's not about declaring technology as wholly good or bad for children, but rather about finding ways to maximize its benefits while mitigating its risks. This requires thoughtful consideration from parents, educators, and policymakers to shape a digital environment that supports children's growth and development.